Little girl found a German shepherd shivering inside a cardboard box. What happened next will break your heart. It started with silence, not the peaceful kind, but the kind that screams something is terribly wrong. And then, one tiny act of courage shattered that silence. What this little girl discovered behind an abandoned wall shocked her family, her town, and eventually the entire nation. Get ready. This is not just a story, it's a heartbeat. On a cold, silent night, a little girl was walking alone down a quiet street. The chill in the air made her cheeks flush pink, and with each small step, her breath formed tiny clouds in front of her. The street was mostly dark, save for a few flickering street lamps casting long shadows on the pavement. Clutching a small toy close to her chest, she moved forward with a mix of innocence and quiet determination shining in her eyes. Suddenly, a faint sound caught her attention, a soft whimper carried by the cold breeze. She stopped and listened carefully, her heart tightening with concern. Slowly, she followed the noise to the edge of the sidewalk, where she noticed a worn cardboard box tucked against an old brick wall. Inside, something stirred. With gentle hands, the little girl lifted the flap of the box, revealing a German shepherd curled up inside, shivering uncontrollably. The dog was drenched and trembling, its eyes wide with fear and pain. Its fur was matted, and the cold had seeped deep into its bones. The sight was heartbreaking, so much loneliness and suffering in one small creature. The girl's heart instantly softened. Though she was young, her compassion was boundless. She reached out carefully, her tiny fingers brushing the dog's fur as if to tell it, "You're not alone anymore." The dog gave a weak whimper and nuzzled her hand, trusting this small stranger in a world that had clearly been unkind. This wasn't just a chance meeting. It was the beginning of a story filled with heartbreak, courage, and hope. The German shepherd's past was shrouded in mystery, pain, and neglect, but with the girl's innocent heart and fierce determination, a path toward healing had begun. What happened next is a journey you won't forget, a tale of rescue and love that will move you to tears and remind you of the incredible power of kindness. Stay with us as we follow this little girl's brave heart and the dog she saved, discovering how one simple act of compassion changed everything. So, get ready to be touched, inspired, and amazed. This story will break your heart, but it will also fill it with hope. Because sometimes, the smallest hands can make the biggest difference. The neighborhood was usually a peaceful place, quiet streets lined with neat houses, front yards filled with blooming flowers, and the gentle hum of everyday life humming softly in the background. Children played under the warm afternoon sun, neighbors exchanged greetings over fences, and the streets felt safe, familiar, and comforting. But tonight, something felt different. The usual calm was replaced by a heavy stillness, almost as if the world was holding its breath, waiting for something to happen. On this chilly evening, the soft glow of street lamps cast long shadows on the pavement, their flickering light painting the neighborhood with a hint of mystery. The cold air had a sharpness to it, biting at the skin, making even the bravest of souls seek shelter. Yet, walking through this quiet street was a little girl no older than 5, bundled in a tiny coat too thin for the biting cold. Her footsteps were slow and cautious, but there was a gentle resolve in the way she moved. This little girl, Emma, was the heart of this story. Bright-eyed and curious, with a soft mop of chestnut hair that peeked out from beneath her hood, she was a child full of innocence and wonder. Emma lived just a few houses down from where she now stood, in a warm home with her parents and a little brother. She loved to play with her dolls, listen to bedtime stories, and chase butterflies in the garden during the sunny afternoons. But tonight was different. For reasons she didn't quite understand, she felt drawn to wander farther than usual. Her parents were kind but busy, often caught up with their work and household chores. Emma, being the adventurous and kind-hearted soul she was, often found small joys in the world around her. A ladybug on a leaf, the sound of crickets chirping, or the way the wind whispered secrets through the trees. Tonight, however, her attention was caught by something unusual, something hidden in plain sight. Just a few steps away, tucked between two old, weathered bricks by the side of the road, was a cardboard box. It looked out of place, worn and battered, soaked by recent rain, with edges curling up and torn flaps barely holding together. Where it came from, no one really knew. Had someone left it here? Forgotten it? Or had it been placed intentionally? The mystery of the box only deepened as Emma approached, her small fingers trembling not just from the cold but from the anticipation of what she might find inside. Before she could peer inside, the softest sound caught her attention. A fragile whimper, barely audible over the rustling leaves and distant sounds of the neighborhood settling down for the night. Her heart jumped. There was life inside that box. Inside, curled up tightly to preserve what little warmth remained, was a German shepherd. The dog was trembling violently, its large frame seemingly weighed down not only by the cold but by fear and exhaustion. Its beautiful coat, usually thick and glossy, was matted with dirt and damp from the rain. Its eyes, deep, intelligent, and filled with a silent plea, looked up at Emma with a mixture of hope and helplessness. German shepherds are known for their strength, loyalty, and courage, but this one looked vulnerable beyond words. The breed's usual confidence had been replaced by shivering, whimpering, and a desperate need for comfort. It was clear this dog had been abandoned or lost, left alone to face the harsh night without shelter or care. Emma hesitated for just a moment, unsure of how to approach the frightened animal. But her gentle nature pushed her forward. She lowered herself carefully to the ground, her small hand reaching into the box, fingers trembling as they brushed the dog's fur. The dog flinched at first but then softened, leaning into her touch as if sensing a safe presence. This first interaction was hesitant, filled with unspoken understanding and an immediate bond forming between the little girl and the injured animal. Neither spoke, but in their shared silence was a powerful connection, one born of innocence and the need for compassion. Not far away, a few neighbors had noticed the unusual activity. Curious eyes peeked from behind curtains and doorways, whispering questions to one another. "Isn't that the little girl?" someone murmured. "Why is she out so late?" Others spotted the trembling dog and felt a pang of concern. Whispers of worry spread quietly through the street, concerns about neglect, fear for the animal's safety, and questions about how such a loyal creature had come to be abandoned in this state. Yet, no one moved immediately, watching from a distance as the girl crouched beside the box, softly comforting the shivering German shepherd. The scene was both heartwarming and heartbreaking, a testament to the fragility of life and the unexpected strength found in the smallest acts of kindness. In the background, the neighborhood's usual hum was replaced by the quiet sounds of the night, the wind rustling dry leaves, the occasional bark of a distant dog, and the faint footsteps of a child reaching out to save a soul in need. This was only the beginning. The night held many secrets, and the story of the little girl and the German shepherd inside that cardboard box was about to unfold. A tale that would test courage, reveal hidden truths, and inspire a community to come together in ways no one expected. The chill in the air wasn't the only thing that made the night heavy. The sight of the shivering German shepherd inside that fragile cardboard box weighed heavily on Emma's small heart. Though only 5 years old, her courage far exceeded her years. That moment, under the dim streetlight, she made a choice born of pure kindness and bravery. She would not walk away. She would help. Emma's fingers trembled, but her voice was steady as she whispered to the dog, "It's okay. I'm here." The dog's eyes, once filled with fear, softened slightly, reflecting the flicker of hope that Emma's presence brought. But she knew she couldn't do this alone. The dog needed help, real help, and fast. Pulling her little hand away from the dog's fur reluctantly, Emma wiped away a tear that had escaped down her cheek. Then, clutching her tiny fists, she made her way back home as fast as her little legs could carry her. The cold night air seemed less biting now, replaced by a burning determination. Inside the warm kitchen of her home, Emma found her mother preparing dinner. She tugged gently on her mother's sleeve, her voice urgent yet small. "Mom, there's a dog. It's cold and scared. It's in a box down the street." Her mother's eyes softened immediately at the concern in Emma's voice. Without hesitation, she grabbed her coat and followed her daughter back outside, calling quietly to Emma's father. The neighborhood was hushed, but the sight of the worried parents approaching drew the attention of a few late-night neighbors who stepped out onto their porches, curious about the commotion. Emma led the way back to the cardboard box, her steps sure despite the cold. When they reached the spot, the family knelt down together to see the dog trembling uncontrollably. The mother's hand immediately reached out, cautiously stroking the dog's matted fur. "Poor thing," she murmured, her heart breaking at the sight of the scared animal. Emma's father inspected the box and the dog carefully. "We need to get her out of here," he said firmly. The dog didn't resist, just nestled closer to Emma as if sensing safety. They carefully lifted the German Shepherd from the box. Its thin frame was colder than expected, and the shivering intensified. Emma's mother wrapped the dog in her coat, while her father pulled out a bottle of water and a small bag of dog biscuits he luckily had in the car. "Here, girl," he coaxed gently, breaking the biscuits into smaller pieces. The dog sniffed cautiously before nibbling at the food, a sign that she was too weak to resist the kindness. Neighbors, drawn by the activity, gathered nearby. Some brought blankets, others offered their phones to call animal shelters. The community's heart was stirred by the sight of this vulnerable creature and the little girl who had refused to ignore her suffering. "I can call the animal shelter," one neighbor offered. "They'll send someone with a vet to check her out." The group nodded, and soon, a phone call was made. Within an hour, a kind-faced animal rescue worker arrived with a portable medical kit. The vet knelt down next to the dog, her hands gentle as she examined her. "She's dehydrated and freezing," she explained softly. "Probably hasn't eaten or had water in a long time." Emma stayed close, whispering soothing words and gently stroking the dog's head. It was clear the dog trusted Emma now, her trembling subsiding under the warmth of the little girl's touch. The vet wrapped the dog in a heated blanket from her kit, then carefully placed her in a cozy carrier. "We'll take her to the shelter right away for treatment," she assured everyone. Emma's eyes filled with tears but also sparkled with hope. "Will she be okay?" she asked. "She's a fighter," the vet smiled. "With care, she'll make it." Emma nodded, hugging the dog's empty box as if promising to be there when she returned. That night, the neighborhood seemed quieter but heavier with emotion. Conversations buzzed about the poor dog, the little girl's bravery, and the urgent need for awareness about animal abandonment. Neighbors who had never spoken before found common ground in their shared concern and determination to help. For Emma, the rescue was more than just an act of kindness. It was a moment that changed her world. She had seen suffering, felt helplessness, and yet chosen to act. The bond she had formed with the German Shepherd was profound, a silent promise of friendship and protection. In the days that followed, Emma visited the shelter with her parents, bringing toys and treats for the dog she had saved. Each visit deepened their connection. The dog, now named Hope by the shelter staff, recognized Emma immediately, wagging her tail and greeting her with joyous barks. The story of the little girl and the German Shepherd spread through the community, inspiring neighbors to keep an eye out for animals in distress and to band together in their welfare. Emma's courage had sparked a wave of compassion, reminding everyone that even the smallest among us can make the biggest difference. The morning sun had barely risen when the quiet street that had witnessed a little girl's brave rescue now buzzed with a new kind of energy, one filled with questions, whispers, and a growing sense of urgency. Word had spread fast. The German Shepherd found shivering inside a cardboard box was no ordinary stray. Something darker lingered beneath the surface. By mid-morning, police officers and animal welfare officials arrived at the scene, their expressions serious and focused. The cardboard box, now carefully preserved as evidence, sat on a table inside the local precinct, while the dog, still named Hope by the shelter, was being examined at a nearby veterinary clinic. The investigation had officially begun. Detective Ramirez, a seasoned officer known for her sharp instincts, was assigned the case. She studied the box closely, noting the torn edges, faint footprints around the area, and a small scrap of fabric caught on one side. This wasn't just abandonment, she murmured to Officer Blake, her partner. Someone left a trail, intentionally or not. The investigators soon discovered a crumpled note beneath some fallen leaves near the box's original location. Though weathered, a few words were still legible. "Can't keep her, sorry." The partial message sparked a flurry of theories. Was the dog a victim of neglect, abuse, or something worse? Had she been deliberately hidden away, discarded like trash? Meanwhile, the vet's report added another layer to the mystery. Hope bore scars, old wounds that had healed poorly, and signs of malnutrition that indicated she had been suffering for months. "This dog has a story," the vet said grimly. "She's been through hell." The community, already stirred by Emma's heroic actions, grew restless with questions. Who could have done this? What? The neighborhood, usually calm and filled with familiar faces, was now filled with suspicion and unease. Detective Ramirez and her team began interviewing neighbors, hoping to piece together any unusual sightings or suspicious activities. Mrs. O'Connor, an elderly widow who lived 2 houses down, recalled a strange car that had parked on the street late one night a few weeks ago. "It was a black sedan, windows tinted," she said cautiously. "I thought nothing of it at the time, but now, maybe it was connected." Another neighbor, Mr. Patel, described hearing distressed barking late into the night but assumed it was a dog in distress somewhere nearby. "I never thought it was so close," he said, shaking his head. "If only we'd known." Emma's parents, too, were grappling with their own fears and questions. Their daughter's innocence had drawn attention to a painful reality they had long tried to shield her from. The possibility that someone cruel could harm an innocent animal so close to their home was a chilling thought. "I just can't understand how anyone could be so heartless," Emma's mother whispered one evening, clutching a photo of Emma and Hope at the shelter. "What kind of person leaves a dog like that?" In the weeks that followed, the street became a place of discussion and debate. Community meetings were held, bringing together neighbors, animal lovers, and local leaders to address the issue of animal cruelty and abandonment. Emotions ran high as stories of other neglected animals surfaced, revealing a pattern that shocked even the most hardened residents. Local media caught wind of the story. Television crews and newspaper reporters arrived, eager to share Emma's courage and the unfolding investigation with a wider audience. Headlines like "Little Girl's Compassion Sparks Community Outcry" and "Mystery Surrounds Abandoned German Shepherd" appeared in papers and online. Emma, often shy and quiet, found herself at the center of this attention. Yet, despite the spotlight, her focus remained on Hope. The bond between them had grown stronger, a silent promise of healing and trust. Detective Ramirez made a breakthrough when checking nearby surveillance cameras. Footage from a convenience store across the street captured a shadowy figure leaving the area late at night on the day the dog was abandoned. The person's face was obscured, but the image was enough to renew determination. "We're getting closer," Ramirez assured the community during a town hall meeting. This case is personal to all of us now. We will find out who's responsible. The investigation also uncovered reports of missing dogs in neighboring areas, suggesting a disturbing possibility. Could there be a ring involved in animal theft and abuse? The thought sent chills through the community. Back at home, Emma's family grappled with the reality that the dog's suffering was tied to something bigger and more sinister than they had imagined. Yet, in the face of uncertainty and fear, they found strength in Emma's innocence and compassion. As the mystery deepened, the community rallied, not just to find answers, but to protect the vulnerable and ensure no other dog would suffer in silence. The story of the little girl and the shivering German Shepherd had become a catalyst for change, weaving hope through the darkest of nights. The days that followed were filled with quiet hope and gentle care. After the traumatic ordeal that left her shivering inside a cardboard box, Hope, the German Shepherd, began the slow journey to recovery. The local veterinary clinic had become her new sanctuary, a place where every touch and sound was meant to heal, not hurt. Emma, the little girl whose heart had led her to find hope, visited the clinic every day without fail. Each morning, she would wake with excitement, eager to see her new friend. Wrapped in her favorite pink jacket, she'd clutch her small hands around the leash, ready to take Hope for a gentle walk in the clinic's backyard, where the first signs of healing were already visible. Hope's physical recovery was gradual but steady. The vet carefully treated her wounds, fed her nourishing meals, and made sure she rested in a warm, safe place. The scars that once told stories of pain and neglect began to fade, replaced by soft, shiny fur and bright, trusting eyes. Emma would sit beside her, softly whispering encouragements, brushing away stray hairs and tracing the contours of her healing body. At first, Hope was hesitant, wary of human touch and sudden movements. But Emma's patience knew no bounds. She never rushed, always allowing Hope to set the pace. Slowly, the dog's trembling lessened, replaced by gentle tail wags and occasional playful nudges. The once shivering pup was learning to trust again. The bond between the two grew stronger every day. Emma found herself sharing her secrets with Hope, stories of her school, her friends, and even her dreams. The dog listened with unwavering attention, her head tilting as if understanding every word. Emma's laughter, once rare and shy, became a familiar melody in the clinic's quiet halls. With her physical strength returning, Hope's playful side began to emerge. Emma watched with delight as the dog chased after balls, rolled in the grass, and even attempted clumsy jumps. The joy in Hope's eyes was infectious, spreading through Emma's heart and lighting up the room. Back in the neighborhood, news of Hope's recovery inspired a wave of kindness. Neighbors, once strangers, came together offering toys, blankets, and food. Some volunteered their time to help walk Hope or assist at the clinic. This collective effort brought a new spirit to the community, a shared mission of compassion and care. Emma's family, too, felt the transformative power of this connection. Watching their daughter nurture Hope brought tears of gratitude and pride. Emma's once quiet demeanor blossomed into confidence and warmth. She learned lessons of responsibility, empathy, and resilience, lessons that no classroom could teach as deeply. The little girl who had walked alone on a cold night was now the center of a growing circle of love and support. Hope was no longer just a rescue dog. She was a symbol of second chances and healing. Their story resonated beyond the streets, reminding everyone that kindness can mend even the deepest wounds. At times, Emma would sit quietly, resting her cheek against Hope's fur, feeling the steady heartbeat beneath her hand. It was a silent promise. They had saved each other, and together, they were ready to face whatever the future held. In this healing journey, the neighborhood found new unity. The shared experience brought neighbors closer, creating bonds rooted in compassion. Children who once played separately now gathered to hear Emma's tales and pet Hope, learning the importance of kindness along the way. Hope's recovery was more than just physical. It was a beacon of hope for all neglected souls, a testament that love and patience can bring light to the darkest places. Emma's life was forever changed by this friendship, a reminder that even the smallest hearts can make the biggest difference. As the sun set on another day, Emma and Hope lay side by side under the warm glow of the evening light. Their eyes met, full of trust and promise. In that moment, words were unnecessary. Healing was not just about mending wounds, it was about opening hearts, building bonds, and creating a future filled with hope. After months of healing, hope, and unwavering love, the story of Hope, the once shivering German Shepherd in a cardboard box, reached its heartfelt conclusion. The little girl who had found her on that cold, lonely night had forever changed not just Hope's life, but the entire community's outlook on compassion and courage. The final chapter began on a bright, warm morning. The vet had given Hope a clean bill of health. Her fur gleamed, her eyes sparkled with vitality, and her tail wagged with an energy that told 1,000 stories of survival. The question of Hope's future was no longer just about survival, it was about belonging. Emma's family had made a decision that felt as natural as the bond between the girl and the dog itself. Hope was to stay with them. It wasn't just about adoption, it was about completing a circle of love that had started with a simple act of kindness. The house that had once felt quiet and incomplete was now filled with the joyful sounds of paws patting across floors and laughter echoing through the halls. Neighbors and community members who had watched the rescue and recovery journey unfolded celebrated Emma's bravery and compassion. At a small gathering in the local park, people shared stories of the night Hope was found, the struggles that followed, and the triumphs that brought them to this moment. Emma, shy but proud, was recognized for her courage, reminding everyone that even the smallest hearts can have the biggest impact. This recognition was more than just applause. It sparked a deeper awareness about the realities of animal cruelty and neglect that too often hide behind closed doors and quiet streets. The community began to mobilize, working together to create safe spaces, establish neighborhood watch programs for animals, and educate children and adults alike about the responsibility and joy of caring for all living beings. Local schools invited Emma and her family to share their story, inspiring lessons on empathy and kindness that reached beyond textbooks. The tale of the little girl and the German Shepherd became a beacon of hope, proof that love and bravery can overcome fear and neglect. Yet, the journey was not without its solemn moments. There were quiet reflections about the innocence lost and found, the courage required to face darkness, and the kindness that had mended broken spirits. Emma often thought about that cold night when she first discovered Hope, her tiny hands trembling as she lifted the dog from the box. It was a memory filled with fear but also with a fierce determination to do what was right. That night, Emma whispered one evening to her mother, "I didn't just save Hope. She saved me too." It was a truth that resonated deeply, two souls, both fragile and brave, healing together. As the community moved forward, a sense of responsibility took root. They vowed to be vigilant, to watch for signs of neglect, and to step in when help was needed. The message was clear: every life matters, and every act of kindness can change the course of a story. For viewers watching from their homes, Emma's story serves as a powerful call to action. It urges us all to open our eyes to the silent suffering around us, to extend hands of compassion, and to protect those who cannot protect themselves. Whether it's a stray animal shivering in the cold or a neighbor in need, kindness is the bridge that connects us all. The final scene brings us full circle, back to that quiet street where it all began. The night is calm, but this time it's filled with warmth and light. Emma and Hope walk hand in paw, no longer strangers but inseparable companions. The cold that once threatened to swallow them is replaced by the glow of community, love, and newfound hope. Hope stops beside a small patch of grass, looking up at Emma with eyes full of trust. Emma kneels down, wrapping an arm gently around her friend. "We're safe now," she says softly, "and together we can face anything." The street, once shadowed by fear and loneliness, now hums with life, children playing, neighbors chatting, and the unmistakable sound of hope's joyful bark. It is a testament to what can be achieved when innocence meets courage, when a small act of kindness blossoms into a movement of love. As the camera pulls back, the last words echo softly, "Every life deserves a chance. Every heart, no matter how small, has the power to change the world." The most unexpected moments can change us forever. If this story moved you, we'd love to hear your thoughts. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more. Until next time, stay open to the wonders around you.